I think we are live. There's a hair on my nose. Now I see, as I set the camera up, needs some editing. The lighting is a bit off. How are you guys today? Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. Let me fix this really quick. It looked good about an hour ago, but as the sun's gone down, this is not working for us. Let me fix this really quick. And by really quick, I mean not really quick at all. Let's see. I think it's the exposure that needs to go up a bit. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, I should have known better that that needed to be up at that number. Okay, let's see. I think we're ready. So tonight we are painting the hummingbird. If you did not already do this background, we have last week's video. You can, get caught up then. The reference photo is over at patreon.com/Lachri. You do not have to be a member to get that one. It is, if I did the settings right, it's free to download. The reference photo comes from Pixabay. Sorry, I'm apparently going to cough now. I was just outside. Yay, allergies. Pixabay. Also Pixabay, and then I just made up a background. So there are different photos that I combined to get this one. But tonight we're going to focus on creating that shimmery look on hummingbirds, that iridescent look. We're going to focus on the feathers. And before we get started, I also want to throw out that if you don't like how much we chat in these videos, or you're thinking, oh my God, she talks too much, you probably would prefer Patreon. Patreon for as little as $4 a month. Got to do the plug here. Sorry guys, for who are used to hearing me say this. But for as little as $4 a month, you get access to all of my older tutorials. There are over 200 there in multiple mediums and a new one every single week. Those are normally live stream. It depends on how big the project was, or I'll speed up the parts that it's just repetitive doing the same thing again and again. So there's no chat in that other than me giving you direction or explaining what I'm doing. So that may be a better fit if you do not like all of the chatting. So, hi DJ, I am well, thank you. Magic lamp, Austin's art said magic lamp. I don't even know where, I missed something there. Heather said, don't forget to put up Friday's reference picture. Oh, thank you. You know I'm going to. If you can message if you can remember somebody, or God, I can't talk. Somebody tomorrow will message me or remind me, because it should go up tomorrow. So yeah, I do need to get that up. What are we doing Friday? I don't even remember now. I totally forgot what Friday is. I remember thinking it was something I was kind of excited to do. Watercolor. I remember that now. Watercolor pencils and, a succulent. Yes, I am excited for that one. Okay. I'll focus now. So I am very not prepared today. I'm in the process of organizing my studio. I decided I have to, so as I do this, I'll tell you we'll have some slight story time. I have a terrarium, or a vivarium, I guess, because I do have springtails and isopods and such in that tank, but I have that set up in my studio, and I've got fungus gnats like you would not believe that. BioOrb, and I read that was a problem with these things. Backwards. So because of the way they're set up, fungus gnats get in them really bad. So the electrician was here for, a ceiling fan on the patio this week. So he is really into vivariums too. He has tarantulas, all kinds of dart frogs, all kinds of stuff. And so he was saying that a thumbnail dart frog would be a really good choice for that vivarium. It's 16 gallons, so it's not huge, but big enough for a thumbnail. So I did a bunch of research, and then we went and got one yesterday. So anyway, throughout that process, I now have to breed fruit flies. I'm a fruit fly breeder. That is the weirdest thing. So yeah, that's a thing. And I've got to get that all set up in here. I've got 2 cultures going so far. That has to be set up, and I've got to find, I have to organize essentially. So that is why I'm late, and my studio is kind of a mess. Sort of a mess, sort of clean. Things get worse before they get better. This palette, by the way, it's a glass palette. It's a New Wave glass palette. I'm using just a regular glass scraper. So it's a razor blade on that thing to scrape up the dried paint. So what I do, this is a lid, it has a lid on it. It's very similar to like a Tupperware. It seals out the air. So the paint, these chunks of paint here stay wet, but the parts like this that I blended out, those not so much. Okay. Let's see if, hi Shelly. Okay. Do I have this? Let's scoot that over just a bit. Let's see a little bit more of the palette. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. Now, I don't even have my reference photo up. I am so running late today. I knew it was a bad idea to start a project before a live stream, but I thought I gave myself enough time. I did not give myself enough time. Here he is. Pull that up. And there we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with his face. And what I'm going to do initially is just block out where my lights and darks are going to go. I'm not going to worry about details. I'm not going to really worry about color. I'm just kind of getting a general map of where stuff's going to go. Actually, before I start with that, I'm going to add the black for his eyes and beak just to kind of keep track of where we're at. Fem said, would you consider doing a digital painting for one of the paint-alongs? I've been doing some on my own, but man, those blending tools are nothing like blending pencils or acrylics. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. But if I do, in order for me to do it live, I need to use my Wacom tablet, and in which case I'm using Photoshop, so it's a completely different set of brushes than what you might have if you're working on a tablet. But yeah, I think that would be a good one. That would be fun. So I'm just gonna go, I'm not gonna worry about the highlight on his eye. I'm just getting blocked in. So it's gonna look very cartoony to start with. Get some little dots around his eye just so I can kind of keep up with where that's going to be. Just giving me a general idea of stuff. And I'm using a synthetic hog-haired liner brush. This one is a number 2, I believe. Yep, that one's a 2. Nancy said, for a fungus gnat, sprinkle cinnamon on top of the soil. Doesn't harm the plants and kills the gnat eggs. Yeah, but isn't a frog a million times better? I mean, he's going to eat them. Now he has food. I have the most, he's like, it smells my thumbnail. Cutest tiny little frog. Sorry, my idea wins. You can't top getting a frog. I mean, okay, I have to do fruit flies now, but whatever. Thank you, Austin's Art. He says, the flower is looking so beautiful. Shaz said, I'm amazed you breed fruit flies. We spend our time killing them and keeping our fruit covered. Can't stand the little bugs. Well, they're wingless fruit flies, so that's one thing. They can't fly. But yeah, they're kept in little teeny tiny, they're actually 32-ounce deli cups is really what they are. And as long as I'm not an idiot, they won't get out. So like fruit flies, well, I don't really have fruit out where fruit flies would get to it. Most, like whenever I have fruit, it's in the fridge. It's for bananas. But yeah, I know. Normally those things annoyed me too. Let's see. Susan said, Lisa, is that Mars Black? It is. So it's in a more opaque black. The other black that I shouldn't even say often use, I sometimes use is, my brain just shut down, lamp black. Now lamp black is going to be a more translucent black. It's almost got like a warmish tint to it. That's really good for glazing, not so much for actually wanting something to be solid. Get a little hint of where his foot goes there. Okay. Now we've got a grayish tone on, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a filbert, a Taklon bristled filbert, if I have one over here. Yeah, that one will work. So this one is just a Royal Soft Grip. If you notice, none of my brushes are like some crazy expensive. They don't benefit me. The cheapy little, they're fine. I use fairly cheap brushes. If it's a Taklon bristled filbert, I'm generally fine. I mean, that's filberts, rounds, and then synthetic hog-haired liner. Those are my main brushes, and they do pretty much everything. Yeah, Joseph said, so they're fruit walks. Oh my gosh, I'm going to call them that now. That is way better. Ben said, when do we get photos of the red-eyed cherry frogs? Looking forward to some great Patreon pictures. When I get them. So I was just at that reptile store yesterday, and they're having a hard time. I mean, you know how certain things we can't get right now because all the stuff going on? One of those things is apparently spray foam. They can't get it, and they can't do my tank without it. So they've got all of the stuff set to the side. They sent me a picture of everything, the bark, everything they're ready for. They don't have that in egg crate, and they're still waiting for it. So I think I'm going to ask him if it's something that I can get myself. Like their company may just want them to go, or the owner may want them to go through a certain vendor, but I wonder if I can get it myself and just drop it off like, here, I got this online somewhere obscure that still had it in stock. So, because I don't even know how long this wait is going to be. Who knows when that would be back in stock. So yeah, I don't have them yet. So now I just have the teeny tiny little thumbnail dart frog who does not photo. I'm mixing red oxide, by the way, and a little bit of black to get this grayish tone. He is so tiny, so he's not going to be great for photographs. And he's actually kind of one of the more boring colored dart frogs. He's mostly like a plum red color. He's a very weird color. Not like super, super fancy, but he said this kind is typically, he was actually bred by one of the guys who works there. He's about 2 years old, and he said he's very outgoing. This type is not super shy like a lot of the other dart frogs, and he barks a lot. So that alone, I was like, sold. And he has the cutest bark in the world. It's something between like a bird and a cricket. So cute. So this is kind of a medium range. I'm not just going to paint this white, even though when you look at the photo, you might think, okay, it's white there. It's not really. So by putting this mid-range, when I put the white feathers on top, I've got my shadows, or some of the shadows, already in there. Let's see, it looks like this comes all the way out here with the white, down to that wing. This color that I have here is actually the color we'll want that main color to be on the blurry wings later. I don't know how far we'll get on this tonight. He won't be finished, but we'll have a good chunk of him done. I'm hoping to have this painting done next week. So I'm thinking that this will be a 3-week piece. Now I could do the wings now because I have this color, but I think I would rather just focus on the bird himself, like his body and head, and like we'll just, this main mass here. Let's see, we need more brown, so I'm going to mix a little bit more black, a little bit more red oxide. You don't have to have the same colors as me. It really does not matter. It's all about your values. You could have completely different greens, completely different, like it's your values. Are your lights light enough? Your darks dark enough? That is what is going to make your work look realistic. Having the exact same color as me, not going to make a whole lot of difference in how realistic your work looks at all. It's always the values that you want to be focusing on. If a little bit of my green background shows through, don't care at all. Like I'm not sitting here trying to make sure every little thing. Now, as I say that, I also don't want little dots of the canvas showing through. Like I don't mean like that, so we're not dry brushing. But if like I have a brush stroke that I missed and green shows through, like right there, I don't know if you can see that because it's tiny, I'm leaving that. Now I think I can zoom in on him a bit, but you're gonna lose some detail just because it's up close, but I do think that'll help. Let me go ahead and block in the rest of this, and then we'll go, I'm going to zoom that a bit because we are going to be doing a lot of tiny details. Got a little bit of brown back here, not too much. And if you miss a spot, so it does not matter right now. Like if you realize, oh, I didn't put brown in that area, we're going to be layering so much, it won't really make a difference in the end. Let's see. Trying to decide how I want to do this. I think I'm going to take this just right along the edge. Get a little bit, where's that wing? Let's see, his wing comes here, so we'll get a little bit in here. And I'm pretty much mapping things out. It just makes it easier later on. This isn't a paint by number. This is a very long layering process. Okay, let me go ahead and see if I can zoom him in a bit. It'd be better if I pulled the camera up. That should be a bit better. Okay. Pam said, oh, I thought you already had the frogs. No, I've got to get the vivarium set up first, and then I could get the frogs. Yeah, no, in the vivarium, you need to let it kind of establish a bit with get the isopods and everything growing and breeding well, and it's a whole thing. So yeah, no, I don't have them yet. I just have the little dart frog now. And luckily for him, that vivarium that I have set up in the studio, it's been up for a couple of months now. So it's, I didn't have to like wait. I already had a house made that was perfect for him. I just hadn't considered putting a frog in it. Okay, so I've mixed a bit of my teal with some white. I'm going to use this as actually I need to darken that a bit. That's going to be too bright. Let's pull a little bit of black into that. That should be better. And I'm using a flat brush here because I want to get a more straight line, and it's a bit easier to do with a flat. Hey, look, spam calls. That's friggin' unusual. Hold on, let me block them because they'll just keep calling back. Okay. Yay, coffee. Made by Dawn said, I'm so jealous of you that can accept mail. My country is close up. I have about 30 art supplies I ordered through Amazon that's just waiting to be shipped. Oh. Yeah, I finally was able to get the painting sent to to Australia. I guess because they both started with A's, that's why that came and popped in my head. But I got it to Australia, so that I don't know that it arrived yet. I need to check the tracking, but it finally they took it, and I think I had to go to a different post office. So I suspect the guy who told me that they weren't shipping out of the country was lying to me. I think he was. I honestly suspect he was busy and just it's always busy in there, and I just have a feeling he didn't want to deal because customs stuff is annoying. So I don't know. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Christine. That is so sweet. Jason said, good evening, Lisa and everyone. If I don't have silver, may I use a light gray? Huh? I don't know what you're talking. I don't use silver. It is a light gray. We don't. So here's the thing, and this may be where the confusion is. When I talk about the things being iridescent, I don't use iridescent paint. I don't use metallic paints. I'm using paint. And I make it look iridescent because of the contrast and the colors that I choose. So that makes more sense. Witty Roan Studio said, did your styrofoam cup finally give out? No, it's in the kitchen. Wow, I'm already struggling with words. That's not a good sign. Okay, let's see. What do I want to do for the base? I kind of want an olivey green. Maybe I'll just do an olive green for his whole body. And then we'll layer on top of that. So to do that, I've got this one is Hooker's Green, bit of red oxide, and that's going to give me an olive type green, kind of a neutral brownish tone. Mix those together. My paint is starting to dry. So usually, you know how I talked about earlier that the palette will keep the paint wet. I usually keep a wet paper towel in there, and for some reason I didn't last week. So it's starting to dry. It's a little bit more chunky than I would normally like, so I have to mix a bit more water than I usually would. I'm just going to, this is actually kind of dark. Let's throw a little bit of white in there. It's just going to blend into the brown otherwise. That's better. Get a little bit up on his head. There we go. Now you can still see a bit of the background through because I did use so much water on this. Doesn't matter. It's okay if some of that shows here. Oh, wow, guys. Thank you for the super chats. Holy crap. Angelique said, love you, Lisa. Your lessons are very helpful. Been watching you for years. Thank you so much. Wow. Going Gonzo Keto Diet said, are you painting on glass with a stencil on it? No, this is a watercolor. Thank you for the super chat too. This is a watercolor canvas board. Super smooth, so it's kind of like painting on glass in that it's so smooth. Now this here is glass. The palette, this is a glass palette. So there's glass, here is a watercolor canvas board. Thank you guys, everyone, again for the super chats. Wow. Starving Artist Collective said, Australia is accepting international mail. Slow, but country is still open. Waiting for my Amazon order of pan pastels. So excited. Yay for the pan pastels, but gosh, having to wait, like, it's such a first world problem where it's like, me and my neighbor, he was commenting the other day how frustrated he was that Amazon didn't have any one day like stuff that you could have delivered the next day like it used to, which it just started doing again. A bunch of stuff, actually stuff I needed for the frog was one day. So, I mean, I had to choose lesser items to get one day, but it worked. Well, it's the cups I needed for his fruit walks. That's totally what I'm going to start calling them now. But, yeah, they are starting to, but it's so funny because we get so used to like having everything so easy, and right now, yeah, I'm like, I am such a big baby that I complain about stuff that doesn't really matter. Like, it's not that big of a deal. We definitely had gotten spoiled, that's for sure. Okay, so that works as a pretty good base, and then we can start building details from there. So I'm going to start with this beak, just because that's what I'm in the mood for. You could really start anywhere you want, but that's where I'm going to start. Missy Tammy said, what have you been doing for fun that's not art related besides documenting the dog's strange behavior and gardening? By the way, love your video on orchid care. Thank you. For fun, really, that is what I do for fun. I mean, I'm pretty excited about the little baby frog. Well, he's not really a baby. He's just tiny, so in my mind, that means baby. So I'm pretty excited about him, but I've mostly been working. This whole last week I've been trying so I mentioned this before, but you guys know, I am always telling you, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Like when it comes to social media, you want to be on multiple platforms, you want to have your own website, you want to, spread that. Because if one of those platforms goes down, what are you going to do? Well, Patreon, they're in some legal issues with something else, and I don't know that it would affect them, but I think that they're still going. I mean, they haven't said it's a problem, but it makes you start thinking. You're like, and it's not the first time they've had legal issues. They make some interesting decisions. So it just was kind of a wake up, like, what do I do? What would happen if they went down? I'm telling you guys all the time never to depend on one platform. And that is my main source of how I pay this is how I pay for my house payment. So I realized that was a bad thing. So I decided to move everything, not move, that's the wrong word, duplicate everything over to another platform, Subscribestar. I'm almost done with that, but I've spent the last 2 weeks copy pasting everything and adjusting the video settings so they work on both platforms. There is just so much work to make this happen. But the good thing is it's kind of a security blanket, because if something ever did happen to Patreon, and hopefully it doesn't, because I do like Patreon better. I like the way that a lot of the features that they have. But if it did, we still have our videos. We can still move over. Everything would be the same, pretty much for you guys. It would just, now I'm just putting them in both places. So that's what I've really been working on. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I spent 2 days getting caught up on postcards. So those just went out for patrons who are the Phalo Blue or $9 or more. Your postcards for April, May, June, and July. Oh my God, I can't believe how far behind I was. Those all just went out. So those will start showing up for you. And hopefully I'll stay on time, because I actually have August's cards that will go out. I can't send those until the 10th of... It's always the month after, so August, September would be the one next month. Those will be due, but I have the stamps and I have the postcards waiting. I just have to wait, for that month to come. So I can't send them now. I had my neighbor was helping me, and she's like, can you do those ones now? I can't get ahead because I don't know who's on Patreon for that, that month, who was owed them. So anyway, point is, for fun, I've been working. I've been getting caught up on a lot of stuff. And when I'm done with tonight's live stream, I'm going to go back to the things. There's so many things that I've been saying I was going to do forever, organizing my studio. I have not ever really organized it well. Everything when I moved just kind of got thrown wherever it went. So now I'm organizing a bit better. I'm just taking a wet brush where that line was a bit harsh and smoothing it out. But I'll be working on that tonight. Tomorrow, hopefully editing a video, so I'll have one for YouTube. But yeah, I've been working a lot. Trying to think if I did. Oh, I did go, but then that even almost feels like work because it was 100 degrees out at the time. I went and took photos of the next batch of greyhounds that are going to be up for adoption. So I've got to edit those still. Someday I'm going to take a day off and it's going to be amazing. My parents are hoping to drive to come visit in September, so I'll take a week off then. So that's kind of I can work until then. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. We just scrolled I scrolled too far. There we go. Mrs. Ray said, Going Gonzo, if you had a comment, I don't see it, just because it has to be tagged at Lachri Fine Art. Otherwise, I just, if it doesn't highlight in orange, I just don't see the comment. I'm not trying to ignore you. I apologize. Let's see. Cat's Art Pick said, where can I learn to build my own website? The internet, YouTube. I mean, it depends on what platform you go with. You've got to first choose and I've got videos talking about doing that, but you've first got to choose which platform you want to go with, and then look up, just Google search. You can learn so much from a simple Google search. There's so many different ways to build it. It just depends on what platform you go with. And ideally, I would say go with something that's pretty common. I used to build my website off of or it's on WordPress. So there are a lot of WordPress tutorials, but then you have a theme, and within each theme there would be more lessons and more information you would want to know. Now that I use Divi, it's a very common one, and the nice thing with that is if I need help, I can Google it. Someone probably had the same problem I did or was trying to do the same thing I was. So it's so many people use it, it does make it easier. So that would be a tip I would have for you is if you can possibly choose, oops, I need a transparent mixing white. If you can possibly choose like a theme, if you're going to go with WordPress or a website that is really common, it makes it a lot easier to get help as you're building it. Wait, stop licking. He's got itchy skin. I've gotten him a bunch of different skin stuff. We'll see if they help him. I think he's allergic to the grass. Okay, so this is transparent mixing white. I'm just going to block in where that shadow is. Whoops, that is too much water. Soak some of that up. And just yeah, it's still too much water. To soak it up, I just touched it onto my paper towel. There we go. So make sure that's slightly curved, and we'll be doing a glaze of blue over it. Then we've got a highlight. What I'm going to do is mix kind of a gray tone. So a little bit of white mixed in with that gray, so it's not as black as the eye, and that's going to make it easier for me to judge later on. Where is the eye? Where is the skin that goes around it? So I'm going to let that dry a little bit before I put the highlight on it. Let's see, we've got a darker bit that kind of extends here. Made by Dom says, thank you for advice last week. It really helps. Oh, I'm glad. Fem said, speaking of being spoiled, after all this time staying home to avoid infecting my parents, I'm now resenting having to spend 2 or 3 hours if friends want to meet now. Yeah, this has been like, somebody had shared a meme, like the things that, like who you were during COVID, and it was something about or something, I don't know. But I can't even remember the details, so I'm not even going to bother because I'm going to screw that up. But the point is, like my favorite, not that we should have favorite things, but I'm really glad that we can't hug right now. I'm not a hugger. Like, please don't touch me. So it's been nice for me, like when I am around people, that it's like, it's and shaking hands. I don't know why we shake hands. It's weird to me. I don't want to touch you. Definitely don't want to touch your hands. I don't want to hug. I know I'm weird. I just don't like those things. So now that it's like, it used to be socially like unacceptable to deny those things. So, I just grinned and bared it, got all stiff. My mom always made fun of me when I hug, or when she tried to hug me, because I get all stiff. But I just deal with it because you're supposed to. Not anymore. Now it's more taboo if you actually touch somebody else. It's been amazing for someone like me. Yeah, no, I have issues. So I did a little highlight around his eye. That's not done. We're going to let that dry. Genevieve said, I just ordered Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils, full set. Can't wait till they're here. Oh, you're going to have fun. They're awesome. Myra said, love your videos. Question, thank you. I'm getting ready to mail a commissioned colored pencil kitty portrait and was wondering if you spray, fix, or it will be fine as is. For colored pencil, I don't spray it unless I use powder blender, or I worked on sanded paper. If I use pan pastels or if I use powder blender, I use either Spectrafix if there was pan pastels. If I use powder blender, I use the final fixative. If it's colored pencil, just regular colored pencil, and I blend mine with OMS, with or without OMS, just colored pencil, that's it. No powder blender, none of the other stuff. I don't spray it with anything. Tell the person to put it behind glass though, to have it framed behind glass. Heather said, as a patron, do we need to switch to the other platform too? How does the tiers over there work? No, don't switch yet, because if you switched, you would want to cancel Patreon. And I would say stay at Patreon right now. That's kind of our backup plan if anything happened. Because if you went there too, you'd be paying double, which I don't want you to do. So, just hold off. I just want everyone to know it exists. So if something ever did happen, and hopefully nothing ever happens to Patreon, I prefer that platform. But if it did, we've got a backup plan. Like we know we can, and I would post it all over my website. Like this is where we're going now. This is where the videos are located. So, but I've still got a lot of work. Like I'm almost done duplicating them. And that's the main thing. Like once those are there, then it's not like, oh my gosh, I've got over 200 videos and I don't have a way to get them to you guys. So that is almost done. And then I have to make a new Patreon, like a Subscribe Star. It's not even Patreon, then it's a Subscribe Star library of where you would, you know, like how we have for Patreon. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to do to make that viable, but the majority of it now, like the hardest part of getting everything moved is done. So like Patreon could go under tomorrow and we are well, maybe not tomorrow, say like 3 days from now, we'll be able to handle it. But no, don't go there now because you would be paying double, which is kind of useless. And the tiers will be the exact same. Let's see. Whoops. Yeah, I tried. Yeah, I even did the wording. It's all just duplicated. Heather said, try using the coconut oil on Wade. It should help with the itching. The problem was he licked it all off. Like he thought that was pretty tasty. So, and there's coconut oil in his food. And so I don't know if that's why he thought, but I tried putting it on his skin because he had gotten, earlier in the spring, that's how I know this is his reaction. Earlier in the spring, he got bit. I need a small round. He got bit by flies and it left him a really nasty sore. When my Italian Greyhounds were still with us, they got them too. They don't seem to like Gibson for some reason, but they had gotten, which is funny because Gibson's the one who likes to spend all the time outside. They had gotten the girls and Wade. And so I put coconut oil, but they're just like, ooh, tasty. This is something extra to lick. So that didn't work out too well for me. Okay, I'm going to mix a lighter tan. So we're going to add a white to that tan that I already had. And I'm going to start blocking in the texture of the feathers here. Just little clumps. And that's important. These need to clump together. They're not just random confetti lines. And that's so important. Watch the reference photo, how they kind of cluster and group together. And that's going to be true if you're drawing hair on a person, fur on an animal. Feathers, they clump and cluster. They're not just random lines going all over the place. I see that a lot where someone's like, okay, look at all the detail I'm putting. Yeah, but it's not good detail. Look at your reference photo, how that builds. I don't care if each one of these little marks is exact. I do care that they're going in about the right direction, that they're about the right width. All those are what matters. But I'm not putting random just lines everywhere is not going to give you the look we're going for. So like here we kind of switch direction. I'm saying kind of a lot. Do you guys ever do that where there's a word that you just say over and over? Kinda is apparently mine today. I need to remove that from the vocabulary. It's always for editing videos. I get so annoyed with myself because it's more noticeable when you're watching yourself. It's like, wow, that is getting annoying. Please stop. You are not allowed to say kinda anymore today. Okay, I'm gonna leave that for and I'm gonna come back with some more darks. So that's not done, but let's go ahead. We've got a little white corner here. Let's add that, and then I'm gonna do his cheek. So this comes right about here. I'm just using titanium white. Now notice when I'm doing the little details with the liner brush or with the round, my hand will be close to the end of the brush. When I'm doing bigger brush work, like doing the bigger strokes on the flower, or normally I say keep your hand back. But on little detail, it's okay. I feel like, if you need to put your hand forward, that does feel more stable to me. But you're not gonna have your range of motion is limited. So if you're trying to make big swiping, gestures like that, or sweeping, not swiping, it's not good. You want to back up your hand for those. But for little teeny tiny stuff like I'm doing here, I can get up close. Okay, let's see. More of a tan color again. Oops, that just jumped. Jason said, boy, I don't like hugging too. So like touching elbows or something, I just hug close friends and relatives. Yeah, if I've had wine, I'll hug all day. But other than that, I'm like, please don't touch. Especially hands. I've never really understood the shaking hands thing, especially like if you shake someone's hand and they're just clammy and sweaty. And I'm like, why is this a thing that we do in our culture? Because I do not enjoy it. stand there and look with an unhappy look on my face and hopefully avoid it when people are like going around shaking everyone's hands when they're meeting people new. So we've got his little cheek feathers. That comes out a bit there. I'm gonna have to add more highlights, but this way I can start building with this medium tone general direction that I want his feathers to go here. Actually switch direction a little bit. And I've got to come back through with some darks and lights. This is really just building up my mid-range. And then, ooh, flies in here, lovely. That's why I put the ceiling fan out on the patio. I'm hoping it'll slow the fly population from flooding into my house every time the dogs go in and out. Yeah, just a reminder, if you do have a question for me, make sure you do the @Lachri fine art. If it doesn't highlight in orange, I just don't see your question. I'm not trying to ignore you, but I will because I won't see it. Or if you can't get it to work, no judgment. I can't either. I tried. I was talking to Fan on Untitled Gardens, and I don't think I could get his. I couldn't. Maybe it was my phone. I don't know. Ask one of the moderators or someone else, and they can ask your question for you. Genevieve said, I don't like to shake hands because my hands are always freezing. And everyone looks at you and thinks you're a vampire. Yeah, I know. Because they do that to me too. Breaking Foundation said, hi Lisa, been a while since I caught a live stream. They're great. Stop scrolling YouTube. They're great to catch up on when I draw. Plus, keeping track of how long I'm working. I hope you've been doing well. Thank you, I have been. Susan said, shaking hands is left over from when we had swords. It's a trust thing. If you have a sword hand, I can't attack you, but it leaves me vulnerable. Interesting. Then we can just stop right now, right? Either that or I want to carry a sword so I can chop off the person's hand who's trying to touch me. I'm telling you, I have issues. That is really interesting. It'd be really nice if we could stop. I like the cold, like, what is it? In Japan, they bow, right? Like that seems like a better way. Like, I could bow. That's a great greeting. My dorky greeting is stand there and wave with both hands. Like, that's my, like, I can greet you. I just don't want to touch you. Is that really too much to ask? That is way too bright. Let's thin that a bit. Oh my gosh, this fly. I tried getting him earlier. He's been in my studio all day. I can't catch him. I almost swore. I caught myself at least. Just can't catch the fly. Okay. That's better. And another thing we can do too, besides using that, if you've got a small enough one, let's see if I have one over here. I might not. And that is definitely not small. Huh. Let's see if it'll work. This may be way too big. You can use a rake brush. So with just a couple, oh, this actually works really well for this. I just have to hold it weird. With one brush stroke, you get a whole bunch of little marks which look like feathers. You just have to make sure that they're still clumping and clustering. It's very easy with a rake brush to make the same stroke over and over, and then it just doesn't look natural. Angelique said, it's an old sign of trust. We used to draw, okay, I got yeah, you said the same thing. We used to draw our sword, but with our right hand. That's because most people, about 75%, are right-handed, so you're basically saying I trust you. But I don't trust you. Even if I shake your hand, I still don't trust you. You could have clammy hands, and I might have to touch that. There is no trust between me and your potential clammy hands. No, I'm not okay with this. Joseph said, I have a fly too, driving me nuts. Yeah, there's one in the living room and one in here, and I've been chasing them down all day. I got the one in the living room. I mean, I stunned him. And then he disappeared and came back. Like, I knew I didn't get him all the way. Jerk. Genevieve said, what's the best paper for colored pencils? Preferably both oil and wax-based. I really like right now I'm hooked on Arches Hot Press watercolor paper. I can't say what's the best, because what's the best for me may not be what's the best for you. But Arches Hot Press watercolor paper is my normal go-to. I also really like Canson Me Tans on the smooth side. I find myself going to that a lot. Let's get some darks in there now. So I'll rinse that brush out. Make a darker brown. So red oxide and black will make a sort of chocolate brown. Nope, more black. Too brown. Add some water to that because my paint is drying out. Add a little bit of white to give me that grayish look I want. Not too much, because I do want this darker. That should work. And I'm going to do some with this brush, and I'll have to do some with a liner or a round. I'm just using the edge of the brush because it's really big, so I'm kind of holding it sideways. I said kind of again. Didn't I say I wasn't allowed to say that anymore tonight? I'm holding it to the side so that I just use a few of the bristles at a time, since it really is too big for this. But it works, as long as you hold it weird. Again, if you don't have this, use a liner or a round. Will give you a pretty much the same look. Few little ones in here, and I'll do the rest with a small brush. I think I'll use the liner now. So this one, is this still number 2? Yeah, that's still number 2. Same color, I just want to use a smaller brush so I can get the tinier areas better. Fem said, speaking of Patreon levels, I'm seeing a couple of artists offering digital downloads of finished art for a higher tier. Have you considered doing that, or is it prone to copyright abuse? Oh yeah, I am not giving out the high quality, high resolution, because somebody could take that. So let's back up and give you an understanding of why I don't just automatically trust everybody. I had somebody who was on Patreon who took all of my Patreon videos, no, not all of them, she took most of them, and turned them into a public playlist that anyone could watch on YouTube. That's why I have to use, now I pay $400 a year to use Vimeo, but it's also doesn't, that's why I have to keep giving you guys extra links, because for some devices it doesn't want to play right. So yeah, I have good reason not to trust that just because somebody signed up that they're just going to be a normal artist that wouldn't screw me over. So if I put high resolution photos on there, I make prints. I put that high resolution photo, that same person that made all those playlists, well, not her because she's been blocked, but somebody else like her could take all of those and upload them somewhere and sell prints on her own. So no, that is not something that I make available online to where everyone has access to at all. And yeah, I can put a watermark, but yeah, that's definitely going to cause, that has the potential to cause some really big issues, which really sucks, because it'd be cool, you know, it could be a wallpaper background for your computer or whatever, but it's, yeah, unfortunately, I've learned the hard way that you just cannot trust people. Well, you can trust most. I would say you can probably trust most people, but you always get those few bad eggs that are just like, nope. Oh my gosh, fly, go away. So now I'm starting to get some of the little ones. We're moving the brush. See how I'm creating these little rows? Little clumps there. These need to be a bit thicker. And I'm letting that green show through. Yeah, and I've been trying to think of other tiers to potentially offer for patrons. My neighbors that were helping me with the postcards, if you get a lopsided label, by the way, that's Cameron. He was having issues getting his labels straight. I had to keep redoing them. But anyway, so you'll know who did yours. But my neighbors were saying like that I wanted me to offer more tiers, and I'm like, I don't have time for more tiers. They're like, we'll help you. I'm like, I don't know I'm really not sure what to offer. It's unfortunate that I can't do that one. The other potential thing would be a higher tier where you would have all my prints at my cost. So I wouldn't make a profit on them. They would just be, you know, I would give the coupon code that would let you have any prints off my Pixels website for the same as what I would pay for them. So again, I would make no profit, but it gets you. So I don't know if that's maybe something anyone would be interested in. I'd considered it before. I also considered doing that for patrons with their postcards. So some people like to collect them, and they're inevitably, they're postcards. They're going through the mail. They're going to get kind of messed up. So it would give someone the option to have it made as a nicer, like little 5x7 act, like a card, a nice print type thing. So I thought that might be kind of a neat thing. If you guys, let me know what you think. So see how I'm working this in they're little individual lines that are, some are closer, some are farther away, and I'm getting this rounded look. So we start getting that look of feathers. Now they're not going to stay that way. He does not look iridescent. I don't even know if we'll get to the iridescent. My plan was the iridescent. We will get to we'll make the iridescent part happen tonight, or at least some of it. But I don't even know. Gosh, this is time consuming. Well, maybe if I didn't talk so much. But where was I going with that? Little round lines, something about Patreon. I don't know. I lost it. Let's see. Sarah said, many Orthodox Jews don't shake hands because they consider it an affectionate touch, which they believe would be confined to one's relatives. Oh, I like that idea. I don't really want to touch my relatives either, though. Angelique said, I wouldn't trust clam hands either. Let's see. Wow, that just jumped. Chanel said, have you ever used Prismacolor art sticks before? I have, sort of. I have them because I had some ideas on things I wanted to try for them, and then I just never got to it, and I haven't looked up which ones were light fast or not. And the interesting thing that I found with those is that maybe I should do a review on them. But they're supposed to be sticks. They're flat. No, mine are like little U shapes. They're little boats. They're like, wow, Prismacolor just can't make things straight, can they? But I do have them because I thought for certain techniques they might be neat, and I just never ended up doing it. Like, I got them, I think, right before, wait, stop, wait, good boy. I got them right before Powder Blender came out, and I want to say the techniques I thought I was going to try with them, I was like, yeah, Powder Blender's just better. Like getting little dots and sprinkles like how I did Seafoam. So, yeah. Noelle said, just got a new job so I can subscribe to your Patreon. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. And congratulations on the new job. Been a fan for a long time now. Thank you. Vic said, hi, really love your videos. Thank you for making high quality tutorials easily accessible. Whenever I get lost in darkness, your videos remind me to bring color back in my life. Wow, that was really poetic. And I'm really sorry that you have downtimes, but yay for art. JBC13 said, well, I guess I'm the odd one out. I love hugging. You stay away from me, sir. I don't like to hug unless I've had lots of wine. Then I'll hug. Then I'll hug too much. Angelique said, you can't trust people or their clam hands. See? It's not just me. Let's see. Missy said, I've heard other artists finding out people stole their painting design onto printed products. What steps do you take to prevent that? So if they take so what I've had happen was when somebody took the photo, removed the watermarks. The watermarks are only going to do you so good. Removed the watermark and then was making prints and selling them at dog shows. What they didn't realize is I have a lot of friends in dog shows because I used to show when I had my Italian Greyhounds. I used to show them, so people know me. So they plus just from online. They were low resolution photos. They still made prints because they're fine for a pillow. They don't have to be great. People still were apparently buying them. So they're preventing the ideally low resolution photo watermark. But even then, like I experienced, somebody did it. Somebody took it. So in that case, I contacted the person and threatened legal action. And most people don't. They're like, oh crap, because they know they did wrong. And they know they'd lose. So that one annoyed me. The one that I'm thinking of, because she's Seattle or Oregon. She had said, this was years ago, she's a Papillon breeder. And I believe she's a main member, or she was at the time, in her dog Papillon club up in that area. And yeah, so she did not want her name getting people to find out she stole the work, but she wanted to work with me then. And I'm like, I'll work with you, because she claimed, let me tell the whole story. She actually first, hold on, wow, super chat. Thank you, 1SGWW. Thank you for everything you keep me saying. Oh, thank you. Oh, you guys are so kind. But the guy, wow, goosebumps. Let me sit here and cry. So, no crying, Lisa. Back to what I was saying. So what happened? She was selling my prints of Italian Greyhounds. Now, what we think happened, her son sounds like, and from what she even told me, sounds like kind of just a crap human. So it wasn't technically her who sold it, but she should have known, because she knew it. She was kind of like, yeah, my son type thing. She claims her son told her he purchased it online, a disc of hundreds of artwork that was royalty free for her to print. Well, it turned out, and she wouldn't give me the information. I'm like, let me see the disc. Take a photo. I want to know who to contact, because if somebody else is selling this disc, I need to put a stop to that. She never could, because she knew it was her son. And then there's more to that story, but the gist of it, like the end of what I found out, is it was probably her son who did this, who is just kind of a crap human, and he probably has clammy hands. And I guess that doesn't make you a crap human. It just makes me not want to shake your hands. But he Yeah. So anyway, in her, yeah, that one, she annoyed me because she wouldn't give me, like, she was being sleazy. So threatening legal advice, you like, just as long as they stop, I'm fine with that. I've not had any major companies. No, that's not true. I had a few months back, actually. It was pretty recent. I'm just going to use the same brown because it's easy. We'll just start blocking in where the darks are. But I had a company that was selling quilts, but they're selling quilts, as it turns out, no one got the quilt, but they were stealing images online. And one of, again, the Italian Greyhounds and Chinese Cresteds, those are the ones that get stolen the most for me. The breed, like specific things, rare breeds. And this company had a quilt of a bunch of different images, and mine was one on it. So that one I went to PayPal because they were selling it. They were advertising on Facebook. I turned them into Facebook, and then they were selling through their website. And they took PayPal. And so I contacted PayPal and reported them. I'm like, they're violating my copyright. They don't even have this product. And so anyway, actually PayPal screwed up. I got a message from PayPal that said that I was no longer welcome to use their services to collect funds. Like, I was the victim in this. That wasn't me. The person screwed up and sent the email to the wrong person. Anyway, that's what I did there. But preventative, just a lower resolution image, ideally. I mean, if someone wants a good print, they've got to go through me. They can get crap prints, I guess, through somebody else. But let's see, this gets dark. We've got feathers go that direction. And then we've got them coming down here. So yeah, there's not really a whole lot you can do to prevent besides that. You can register your work as being copyrighted, but it's technically copyrighted to you the second you created it. You just have to, if there were legal actions to be taken, you would have to prove when you created it. For me, it's pretty easy because the videos are up on YouTube. Dates are there. Like, I don't worry too much about that. It would not be hard for me to prove. I'm going to switch to around here, which paintings were mine or when they were created. But yeah, you can copyright. Most artists that I know cannot afford to be copyrighted, especially with me for how much I paint. I would have to copyright in a collection, which I actually am planning to do once I get more of my, the series I'm working on with the embedded, what did I call it? Embedded, where like the beehive mixed into the zebra, the coral mixed into the lion. I want to do a few more of those, and then I will likely copyright those. But I mean, technically they're already copyrighted now though, because I created them. It would just make it easier. If there was any legal thing, I can copyright it as a group, if that makes sense. Okay, let's see. Fem said, have you considered setting up memberships right here on YouTube? I've seen several channels doing that for now. I don't know what benefit there would be. I would think, I mean, unless I was just taking it as donations, I'm not sure that I would provide anything extra for someone with a membership here on YouTube that you wouldn't also be getting through Patreon. So I'm not sure. Somebody had suggested that as a possible alternative if anything ever happened to Patreon, but I'm thinking that Subscribestar for now may be a good option for my backup plan, because here on YouTube, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. There is a way I could do that. And I may do that as well. That may not be a bad idea to upload, because most of the Patreon videos are uploaded to YouTube, but I guess I could change the descriptions and make it a membership thing. That might work. It'd be harder to control. Like with Patreon or Subscribestar, I can have tiers. So, you know, for $4 a month, you get the videos, you get 5 reference photos. For $9 a month, you get videos, 10 reference photos, the group challenge, and, I need to put up this month's, and the Patreon postcard. So with YouTube, that would be, I think, a lot harder to do. And then the other thing with YouTube, I don't think there would be a way for me to do the merchandise, I say merchandise, it's just the postcard, because the way that I have to download the information, like your address, you know, all that. And yeah, I don't know that that would be a permanent solution to Patreon or, you know, alternative. Let's see. I probably should look more into it. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but I don't think it has as many options as what we have on Patreon or Subscribestar. Let's see. Genevieve said, would you recommend using alcohol markers and then colored pencil on top to make the color more vibrant? No, because those alcohol markers aren't light fast. So let's say they made the colored pencil more vibrant. As soon as the marker fades, which inevitably it will, they are not light fast, then it's basically the equivalent of having white or maybe light pink. You put it red and now it's light pink. The colored pencil is no longer vibrant. So no, I do not recommend that. For your own fun, yes. For making prints, yes. To sell the artwork, oh, heck no. Because it will fade and it will be obvious when that color shifts. Alcohol markers like Copics, they're not light fast. Now, An alternative might be using light fast markers like the Winsor Newton pigment marker. So it's pigment based, not alcohol or something like that, but it has alcohol in it. I don't know. They're supposed to be light fast. That may be a good option. You wouldn't blend them the same way I do on Yupo, but if you did it on art paper, which you can use on regular, like watercolor paper, they're just not going to be as blendable. But if it's just to get that base, that would work. That would be a good video. I need to do that. I forgot about those, which is weird because I just used them. Shannon said, I've never been a painter, but I have recently started trying watercolors. Could you do this in gouache instead of acrylics? Absolutely, and you could do it about the same techniques. I would probably do pretty close to the same. So yes, you can. The thing that I like with gouache, being it's just opaque watercolor, you can layer very much like you can with acrylics. Oh my gosh, fly, go away. You are not welcome here. Okay, let's start getting this to look, I'll come back to this, but I want to get to at least some of the iridescent feathers back here. Here, grab some coffee. Breaking Foundation said, I almost got smacked in the face by a pair of hummingbirds this week. All I heard was vroom as they flew past my head. I love them, but it freaked me out. I had one do that to me this week too. How funny. It was only one, but he came by where my feeder is. I just didn't have food out. He flew right. Yeah, I jumped a little too. Let's see. Whoop, that just scrolled too far. Come back. Lori's Boots said, how to kill flies. Windex, get them on a window and spray them from a little distance. Flies never see it coming, and clean your window at the same time. I've done that, and I don't know why I haven't done it lately. Well, I have to wipe the fly. That's so gross. I wipe fly poop off my windowsills every week because where they get, oh God, we get them bad out here. So yeah, no, I think I like your idea. Made by Dawn said, I bought a colored book in my country, but some of the pics look like stolen artwork. And it probably is. It's very, very, very common. And it's very common, like I guarantee you that a lot of my stuff is being sold over like in China, but because of the way that the laws work, our copyright, like I'm not going to know about it. So I guess what damage is being done, I guess. But yeah, no, we know that that happens very, very common. As long as it's not sold here and then I don't find out about it type thing, but we know that that happens over there. So yeah, because they know we can't do anything about it. Leroy said, Lisa, paint a Venus flytrap and hang it on your wall. Your troubles will go away. I have I'm growing a baby Venus flytrap. I have him over there. He's still too little he doesn't have his little clampers. He hasn't gotten that far yet. Oh yeah, and I got him because you guys suggested me to get one. Let's see. Alana said, any advice for dealing with Southern California's low humidity? It's 10% humidity or 15% humidity here and the paint dries instantly. You might want to try putting a humidifier near you. That wouldn't be a bad idea. That will I mean, you can get them for fairly inexpensive. The one that I have here for my plants is not on. It's humid enough in here. It's like 65% humidity usually. So I don't have that problem. But when it isn't, I put it on and you could have that kind of near you. They have little ones, use distilled water because they build up the hard water really fast. But yeah, a humidifier near you would probably be a good solution. Mira said, I miss your live videos. I moved to Hawaii and there's even more of a time difference, but COVID and working from home. So yeah, watching while working, don't tell. I will tell no one. I mean, except 384 people watching. Also, wow, 384. Thank you for being here, guys. If you could hit that like button, I will love you forever. It makes me feel fancy. And supposedly there's debate on this. It's not going to hurt, that's for sure. People say that it will help YouTube to go like, wow, people like this. I will share it with more people. So, you can hit the like button. It's just fancy all around. Let's see. I should do some podcasts will have like, if we hit this many likes, I'll put on this stupid looking hat. So, maybe I need to do something like that. Austin's art. Oh, what kind of stupid looking hat should I get? This is not a terrible idea. This has to happen. Austin's art said, if he has slimy hands, it also makes him a gross person. Well, my husband has a guy who works for him, or I don't think he works there anymore. He used to work where Matt works. And his desk, if he touched it, it was soaking wet. Like he had some kind of disorder where his hands sweat a lot, all over, like his back, he's just always sweating. So, I don't want to get too judgy. But most of the time when people's hands are clammy, I question things. No scratching. Wait. Good boy. Poor itchy boy. Let's see. Breaking Foundation said, what if she just blamed it on her son because she got caught? It's possible. It's absolutely. But see, she didn't technically blame it on her son. She said her son bought the disc online, but she could not get the information from her son on where online he got it. And it's like, if you cared to help me out in this situation, you would get that information for me. But she didn't. She never could. Well, you know how sons are. He's an adult man. He was like in his 30s. You know how sons are. They don't always call their moms back. No, but they'll steal for her apparently, huh? Or she took it herself. I'm not sure. But either way, when she asked me, she later tried to get me to sell through, like, commit or do royalties and allow her to sell my work. And I told her I would once she got that information from her son. But the reality was, I knew she was lying. I think she was protecting her son. I don't think it was her. I could be wrong. But I knew she was lying. I'm like, I'm not working with somebody like, you can't back up your claim. I know you're a liar, and that right there, I'm not working with you. So no, I never gave her permission. I hate liars so much. It's fine if somebody is wrong. That's fine. I'm wrong all the time. But to deliberately, to like knowingly lie, oh no, I have no. Austin's Art said, I have a newsletter question. I have been trying to send individual emails to a person on my list. How do I do that to only one subscriber? Well, if you know what your whatever email platform you're using, you should be able to get their email list. Just send it as an individual email. I mean, you have their email, send it like you would any individual email. Should work just fine. And you have, if they're on your email list, you have access to their email. So I would just write out an email like I normally would, like in Gmail or however you normally send your emails. You should be able to do that, no problem. My compressor just went off. Let's see. Artiza NL Sueño Lucido, I just butchered that, I apologize, said, I just love that you put the blonde hair and black convention on trend before some celebrities. Lachri, hi from Mexico. That's funny. Yeah, now I'm back to my natural. Now I decided to, well, I still have some of the bleaches growing out. I'm calling it my COVID hair. I could dye it to my natural color so it all mixes. I'm like, meh, I'm calling it COVID hair and letting it grow. Mainly it's an excuse to be lazy, which is mainly why I didn't want to dye it anymore in the first place. That's funny though. Beak said, do I need to seal graphite? How do you ship it? I do. I put a matte or a graphite. There's like a fixative you can use on it. I think I have Krylon, although I've heard there are better brands. I've not researched it because I haven't like finished something in graphite that I sold in so long I haven't needed to. But Krylon is what I used and that one was fine. But yeah, it's a spray fixative and it's just, light sprays with that. And how do you ship it? I generally will put it in a black matte, and then ship it in like if it's an 8x10, it would be an 11x14 matte, and then put it in I ship it USPS usually if it's going to the US. In there, like they have a standard box that fits that size. Cat's Art Pick said, is there a way that I can send you a picture of my colored pencil project so I can get your advice on it? Not really. I don't do that too much anymore. There's no time. I would love to. Everyone wants me, like the amount of requests I get for it, I already don't have time. Like as you heard when someone, well, maybe if you were here, somebody asked or what I do for fun. I work. I've been working nonstop every day. Like I have not had a day off. My day off, the closest I had to a day off was cleaning the house first half of the day and doing postcards for Patreon the second half of the day. And that was a day off. And that was a lot of postcards. So yeah, no, I don't. There's just no time for it. Unfortunately, as much as I would love to, there are limited hours in the day. So occasionally I do group critiques. Gosh, there it is. And I was just thinking, like after this, I think I want to do, I like the idea of the digital art. I want to get some smart art box projects because I've got a few new ones here that I'd love to try. And I also we need to get a critique soon. So that will be, I will announce when I'm accepting those for that. Like I'm flattered that people want my opinion, like super flattered, but also I wish there's just not time. Mackenzie said, can you get as realistic paintings with acrylics as you can with gouache? Oh, heck yes, absolutely. You can get as realistic with any medium. Oh my gosh, no, stop itching. You can get as realistic with, I left the window open. That, I forgot. You can get as realistic with any medium I didn't realize watercolor years ago. I remember being so surprised when I saw a watercolor artist, and I would have sworn it was an oil, like a realistic oil painting. You can do it with anything. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of yellow and white. We'll get a bit of green in there. I'm making a light color here. Actually, I should stop being lazy and make room for me to actually blend. There's too much stuff in the way. Okay, trying that again. So what I have to do in order to make this look iridescent, I have to have very high contrast between my lights and my darks. That's it. I'm also going to shift between having blue-green and yellow-green. So one cooler, one warmer, and when they're right next to each other, again, high contrast. So high contrast between which hue it is, and also high contrast in lights and darks. That is how I'm gonna make it look iridescent. Let's see. Do I like doing abstract art? It's so fun to mess around with. It's fun, I don't have time, so it's not like my preference, but I sure can respect it when it's done well. You don't see it done well often enough though. I see too often where people, like I've had people, it's happened a lot where they would come into my class and like, I'm an abstract, usually it was teenagers, I'm an abstract artist. I'm like, okay, are you an abstract artist because that's all you feel you have the skill for? Or are you an abstract artist because that's what you are, that you like? Because that's an important thing to know to know so I can work with you. And every freaking time it was because they didn't know how to paint. So, and there is absolutely beautiful, so beautiful abstract art, but you don't see it as often because you have so many people who they limit themselves, like they don't take the time to learn to paint well. And then why is there a bird outside? Then like, even if you do abstract, you have to learn to do it well. And too many people use abstract as like, oh, I don't have to learn to paint. Yeah, if you want to do abstract, well, you do. You still have to learn your basic, like a lot of stuff. So anyway, that was a random rant. It's beautiful if it's done well. I'm not one of those people who do it well, and I like doing more realistic stuff. It's just what I enjoy. Let's see. Hat with antlers. We're going to have to find, I need a hat. We need to get a hat where, so many likes, I put on the stupid hat. I have to find one. I like the idea of antlers. Not opposed to this. Angelique said, what about a top hat? Ooh, I do like top hats. Ben said, that woman's son probably downloaded the disc off an illegal torrent somewhere. I don't even think he did that. I think he downloaded it. I think his idea of a gift to his mom was he went to different websites, downloaded the image, like, crappy the way you could still see the watermark. Like, it was such a bad removal of the watermark. I think he did that and then handed her the disc. If I had to guess, like, the order of events, I would say that's what he did. Fence, oh, got that one. Whoop, that had scrolled. Come back, Vlad. I think you were next. Yes, Vlad said, well, it's getting late, so I'm going to sleep. Good live stream. Good night, Vlad. I added an extra syllable to your name somehow. I don't even know how I managed that. Ashley said, thank you so much for the advice you gave me on Facebook about poor reference photos. Means a lot since I know you're busy. It was such a good topic. It's funny. So this is the thing. So let's give you guys a bit of background. Technically, I'm saying you opened the door on this one, so I'll let everyone know. I mean, it's in our art group. So Ashley posted this stunning colored pencil piece, not as detailed as some of her other work, but freaking beautiful, of I believe it was an Australian Shepherd, right? She posted on Facebook, ranting. She's very frustrated because she saw that the owner, when she kept asking for more photos, the owner kept saying that, that was her best or whatever. And eventually Ashley found out, like, on her own Facebook page, she had way better photos. So Ashley was a bit frustrated. And the thing with Ashley, and I have used you, Ashley, as an example of this so many times. Ashley is one of those artists who can take an absolute crap photo and make it amazing. And that's a skill in itself. I know one other artist, she does equine. Wow, I haven't seen her post anything in forever. I wonder if I unfollowed her or if she doesn't post anymore. She was a friend on Facebook. I just realized I have not seen anything from her in so long. But I only know of two artists who are really, like, super skilled at taking just horrible photos and making them really realistic and just impressive. And Ashley's one of those. And so it was funny to me when I saw Ashley frustrated by this, that she wasn't getting good enough reference photos. And it's like, that's one of your strong points, is taking horrible photos. Not all artists can do that. I don't even think I could make them as good as what she takes these bad photos. And I've been doing this for a long time. Like, she really can take a bad photo and make it good. And it's like, that's a pretty fairly uncommon skill to be as good as she is at making them good. So that's why I commented, because I was like, wait, what? You are complaining about this? You're the one who can make that happen. You're one of few who can do that. So see how we're getting this really high light here? That was a really big change or quick change of subject, huh? I'm doing little lines, again with those clumps, so we're kind of forming, I just said kind of again. I already said I wasn't allowed to. We're getting these definite, or these little feathery shapes. Don't turn them into fish scales. There's a warning there. Half of you who are following along just went, oh, whoops, they do look like fish scales, right? Let's see. Where were we? Jason said yellow and green, and what color to get contrast? So yellow and green, and I added white. These are my lighter values. When I go towards the contrast colors, I'm going to be doing green, blue, like phthalo blue, and probably white as well. And then I'll also do some without white to get the darker areas. Genevieve said, I paint on everything except for canvas and paper. I painted on my polychromos pencil case, and I'm in the middle of making my pantry doors into art. You know, that is one of the only things that I always thought we would get a house that was like an older house that was a big fixer-upper. I never dreamed I could have one made in all my custom colors and everything how I wanted. So I always thought we'd get this like super fixer-upper, and I would repaint everything myself and get all creative. But being that the house is new, yeah, I can't bring myself to do it because everything's brand new. But I always wanted to do that on an older house, like just paint everything. Monica said, hi, I'm doing a colored pencil panda and it's coming along nice, but I'm not happy with it because it looks like a cartoon. How do I get it back to being realistic? Probably your values. More likely than not, your darks are not dark enough and your lights are not light enough. You're probably, and this is what most people do on pandas, the black, solid black, the white, solid white. That is one, like white probably should have blue, it should have purple, it should have tan, it should have so many other values in it. Same for the black. Black is going to have blue, it's going to have purple, it may have tan, blue and purple for sure. And that's how you've got to get your values. Look at your photo, where are your lights, where are your darks? Now I'm making the assumption you're starting with a solid, accurate line drawing. So that's, first make sure the drawing is accurate, but really looking at that reference photo. Let's see, you come here. Oh, that highlight's way low. Look at your reference photo and pay attention where the lights are dark and darks are. And I will usually hype up that contrast even more than whatever the reference photo had. Let's see this one goes right next to it. I'm just looking at the general lights, and I'll adjust these colors because I need to get more of a yellow tint on them. But let's get about where those go. Let's see. Joseph said, Michael Russell said, it's been 35 years since I picked up an artist brush, and your tips have been a huge help. Thanks, that's awesome. Well, welcome back to art. Let's see, what are your favorite art channels here on YouTube? By the way, my name means the artist in the lucid dream. Love your essence as an artist. That's a fancy name. My favorite channels here, Jason Morgan. I haven't watched them in a long time, but I mean, when I watch them, Jason Morgan and Lena Daniel are probably my two go-to. Unmasked Art's a really good one. Really like him. Those are Aaron Blaze, of course. Love Aaron Blaze. His digital work and his lighting, and I still need to I bought one of his classes. I need to switch to a larger brush for these softer feathers. I need to follow that. But yeah, those would be my go-to artists. Okay. Oops, I think I just put too much water in that. So I'm getting about where these highlights go. There's a lot of water in that, but that's fine. You've got the side, we're kind of seeing this, I see, so kind of again, I've got to break that habit. We're seeing the tail feathers here just from the side. I don't know why I say kind of all the time. It's like a filler word because it doesn't even fit. It's not kind of the side of his tail. It is the side of his tail. Drive myself crazy. Yeah, you guys, if you want to link me hats you think would be appropriate to, we get hit 150 likes and I put on this stupid hat, let me know if you see any links. Send them to me. I'm guessing it'd have to be something pretty ridiculous in order for that to work. Look, I'm bribing people for likes. Oh my God, I'm a dork. I've just seen other people do it and I thought it looked fun. I will make a fool of myself for likes. Okay, So here are our general, oh, let's get a little bit in here. That's way too light. Let's actually darken that up. There we go. And see how I'm starting to get the general fate, the shape of where the feathers will go. My colors, my values, not exact at all. We can keep going back through and readjusting these as needed. It's a long layering process. Shannon said, oh, I bought 3 of Aaron Blaze's courses recently too. He had a bunch of them on sale with the COVID thing. His way of helping people stuck at home. That is awesome. I got the one on lighting and I haven't watched it yet. I bought it a couple months ago and I was so excited when it came out. I just keep forgetting to actually watch it. Hellblade horns. Yeah, something with comic books would make my husband happy. Let's see. So now we need a bluish green. And I need to get some phthalo blue out for that. Hopefully I have some over here. Come here, art cart. I started cleaning my art carts. I got the pencil one all sorted. I need to do the paint one tonight. Nope. Nah. I'm just gonna. Oh, I do have. It is phthalo blue. I thought that it looked like ultramarine in there. Okay. So I'm going to mix a bit of that and some white. It's almost an aqua color we're going for. So there's the hooker green. You could be using phthalo green would work there. Mix a bit of white in there. Maybe a little bit more green. Maybe a greyhound hat. I don't know if there is a greyhound hat. I don't think I've ever seen one. Maybe there is. Leave me if you find it. Fem said, that's such a coincidence that you have a dart frog now. I was just looking at blue poison dart frogs, frog reference photos yesterday and thinking I should paint one. Such lovely colors. Yeah, those are really pretty. And I would have preferred one that was more, unique colors, like, those bright colors. But that's not what they had there. My choices were either one, or, I could wait, of course, but I just want a little buddy. I just want a little frog in there. They're cute. But I wasn't being that picky. But it was for the fungus gnats. My options were, and I forget the type he had a brown body and black legs, and because I need thumbnail dart frogs, I can't do the bigger ones. And he was an option. And then this little guy, they told me that he was a talker and more active, so that's why I went with him. He's just kind of a reddish plum, weird, almost like a grape. He reminds me of a red grape. That would be like where you can see the light through him because he's almost translucent. And then he's got a few. So this type, he's a Santa Isabel, and they typically have these green, like sage green stripes going down them. He doesn't have stripes. He just has a couple of dots where his stripes should be. So he's special. But I wanted the personality. I haven't seen him today, and I haven't heard him yet today. From what I was reading, it's not uncommon for them to hide for a few weeks when you first get them. So as they adjust to everything. So I was like weird because he was so active last night and like actually eating last night. But they were saying that sometimes they'll be like that where they're looking for their previous home and then they realize, oh, this is where I am now. And then they get kind of nervous again for a while. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I see him out. Okay, that is way too dark. That actually works for the dark areas though. Let's go ahead. This is that darker color. I'm going to put it over my darks because I don't need these to be blackish brown, but anywhere that's really dark, I'm going to use this because it is on the brush and I already have it mixed. So may as well make our lives a little bit easier, but I need to mix a lot of white to that color to get what I really want for some of these. Yeah, I never really considered the dart frogs too much because I've always preferred the tree frogs. But yeah, when my electrician guy mentioned that, I was like, huh, that would actually be pretty cool. So I spent the week watching videos while working about dart frogs and learning how to breed, what did Joseph call them? Fruit walks. Let's see, where were we? Genevieve said, for airbrushing, do you just use plain acrylic watered down? Are there special paints specifically for airbrush? Yeah, I use specially for airbrush paint. Goldens and Holbein both make airbrush paint that I love. I've done where I mixed it down with water. It's not quite the same. It takes longer to dry. I don't know what they put in these paints, but they dry faster, which is ideal for airbrushing. Watering down acrylics, it's a pain in the butt. I've done it. It can work. It is annoying. I don't have time. No one has time for that. So Goldens and Holbein are my two go-to. Goldens is my preference. Airbrush paints. Have I ever dabbled in doing self-made pigment paints, clay for umber, etc.? I've been on a history YouTube kick lately and I saw them making some. No, I've not. I don't have time. Back to no one has time for that. I would rather let the professionals do it and I will paint the things. So see how we're coming under with these, the edges with that bluish green color. We need more aqua in here. So I've got to come back with the lighter colors. I'm just going to, see, I said kind of again. I'm not kind of doing it. I am doing it. I'm putting the darker areas in a few more spots. Okay. But don't jump on me, YouTube. The Mad Hatter hat, that would be cool. Cat's Art Pig said, do you know or could you recommend an artist that I could go to for help with my colored pencil drawing? Now I could be wrong. I could be reading too much into this. If I had to guess, you are looking for somebody to hand you answers that you need to learn by experimenting and by practicing. You need to start drawing and see what happens. And if it's good, great. If it's bad, do something different. Some of the questions that you've, well, I appreciate the questions. And I mean, I get why you're asking them. As I throw my paintbrush down, no one can give you the answers. I can give you a few tips, but you've got to practice. You've got to experiment. You've got to make mistakes. You need to draw more, because I feel like some of the questions that you're asking are questions that if you practiced a bit, you would get there. I don't know what you mean by you need help. You need to draw more. If you feel like you need help, you probably just need to draw more. You've got all the videos on YouTube or Patreon or wherever you want to watch them, tons of videos. And if that doesn't have the information that gives you the confidence to practice, I mean, I don't know what will. You can do an in-person class. There are, well, maybe not right now, but there used to be where you could go and do, oh wait, I can just use this color and add white to it. You could go to an in-person class and have somebody hold your hand that way. And that may be something that's comfortable for, not right now, but that may be something that you want to do. Look locally and see if there are any artists that can help you. Colored pencils a little bit harder to find, but that may be an option. But I suspect, honestly, that you're being a bit too hard on yourself for whatever stage you're at, and you need to just practice. You need to draw more. That is really, between that and YouTube, that should be enough for you to get going. I'm not sure what you mean by you need help. You can't, no, but you don't want someone to do it for you. You need to experiment and figure it out. I know that sounds like not helpful, but really that's what you need to do. Whenever, and I always can tell you, well, maybe not in this case, but usually I can tell when somebody just hasn't been painting or drawing very long. Here's the aqua color, because they'll ask questions that it's like, things aren't making sense to them because they've not practiced on their own. They didn't go into it knowing, I'm going to screw some stuff up. I'm going to make some mistakes and see what happens. That's the attitude you need to have going into it. They go into it with the attitude of, I want everything to be perfect right in the beginning. And you don't learn that way. You want to go in, make some ugly things, and then make some more ugly things, and eventually they'll start looking good. But don't get so hung up on, I don't know, like I said, I can usually tell when somebody asks questions. It's like, can you give me art tips? Let me sum up my 20 years of experience into a 5-minute answer. I mean, you've got so many videos that can help you. I think you just need to be brave and I don't know what you mean by somebody to help you. If you just want to critique, you can post that over in our art group for sure. You're definitely welcome to do that, but I suspect you just need to keep practicing some more. Let's see. Susan said, do you have a name for your frog? My husband's been calling him Cletus because it's something from Spider-Man, I think. Wasn't my idea. Let's see. He keeps naming all the animals. Let's see. Monica said, okay, I don't know if it's the panda or the background drawn in a waterfall and cherry blossoms. Now it's cartoon looking for me. It's for a baby's room, so it's okay for this project, just not for me. Well, that's good. So with the background, I suspect, like going back to, I can only, when I get some of these questions, I can only go by what I've commonly seen while teaching. When people say certain things, it usually, like, this is what happened. So in that case, what usually happens when somebody does the background, makes it look more cartoony, they didn't take the time. A background like that, cherry blossoms and a waterfall, should have taken you like 4 times longer than the panda himself. That kind of a background is really involved, like really involved. And you've got to go very slow. And I've seen a lot of times where people they'll rush it. They'll go, like, it's a background, I'll just do it real quick. And because you went quick, you didn't put the time and detail into it. And that's why it now looks like cartoony. So that's probably what happened. That would make most sense without seeing it. Oh, we jumped. There we go. Cat's Art Pick said, everything looks flat even though I made the background in soft edges. If you're just going for a blurry, out of focus background, the background values, dark's dark enough, light's light enough. That's what I would say you probably need to focus on next then, if it looks flat. Jason said, holding your hand, gross elbow bump. Right there. I even know what you're talking about this time. Cat's Art Pick said, I'll keep practicing. Thanks. Good. That is what I want to hear. That's awesome. Jason said, Larry, Curly, and Mo. No, you are not naming my frogs. Yeah, my husband told me when they handed me the little like cup thing that he was in to take him home. I'm looking and I'm like, he's so cute. And I look at my husband and I'm like, what should we name him? And my husband later told me, he goes, as soon as you said that, it's all over because I'm going to name him then. He goes, you need to come up with a name before you say that. So yeah, apparently Cletus it is. There was another name that he had. It was the other name for that same character with Spider-Man, and it's super like, I don't know, this like doom and gloom death bringer type name, which is hilarious because the frog is like smaller, like my thumb. He's smaller than that. He's so tiny. But I guess Cletus is his human name or something. I don't know. And the guy, what was really bad, so we're sitting there and, or the guy's catching him and my husband says Cletus and the guy goes, oh, what is that? What's that from? And Matt goes off on his comic book nerd. Oh, it's the comic book, it's from blah, 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 whatever. And the guy just looks at him and it's like, Matt, you just really outed your nerdness. Like that guy does not know what you're talking about. Jason said, frog legs? No. You're still not naming my frogs. I don't even want my husband to name my frogs. I know for sure the red-eyed tree frogs are going to be named after World of Warcraft Murlocs, like named Murlocs. So Murky, what was it? Murky was one. We had a bunch of names. I was thinking Murloco from Murloco's Tacos, and I forget what the other one was. Possibly Captain Cookie. Okay, now I need to start building more clumps. These are a little bit too spread out, so I need to start clustering. Well, I've got to start glazing too, but I'm going to start really clustering some of these bigger feathers. These colors are not green enough, but it works as a base before I glaze. Okay. Actually, it looks like back here we'll fade into a little bit of that aqua too. DJ said ribbit. Yeah, that's that was my Australian White's tree frog was Rib. Oh, you just used to tell people his name is Bit or Rib. His last name is Bit, and they just look like takes a minute. It's like, oh, you're an idiot. Julie said, when I hear Cletus, I think The Simpsons. Femme said, Cletus sounds like something from ancient Roman. Some ancient Roman senator, super dignified, or perhaps super debauched. I can't say things. Debauched. I don't know words. Okay, let's see. I need more yellow. I just use the same round brush. This brush is just so generic. It just says 2 on it. Like there's no name. This is what I mean by I'm not picky with brushes. Maybe someday I'll change my name, my opinion on that, but honestly these just cheap brushes work for me as long as they're the right kind of brush. Okay, let's get some yellow tones down here. I need to get a second brush to, oh, that one won't work. This one will work. Add a little bit of water just so I can blend or smudge that out. So now I'm getting those definite yellows. And if I go too bright, no worries. I can glaze over it. Like some of these are definitely too bright. I'll be glazing over it. This is a long back and forth process. It's actually not that long. If I'm not talking, I can paint it really quickly, but so it's not that long, but lots of layers. That's my point. Christine said, nosy question. So it's okay if not answered. Is your husband an artist as well? Sort of. He draws amazingly well. Like, he will fix stuff. He can come in and go, the perspective's off, and help me fix something if I like drew it wrong. Portraits especially. However, he doesn't do it. Like, he would rather play video games or watch anime or something. Super nerd. He just doesn't draw anymore, and it's frustrating to me because he's so good. So as I burp, that's classy. And then itch my eye. I'm like all kinds of class right here. But he's so good and he doesn't use it, and it just frustrates me. It's like, you just, he's really good. I made a mistake once. So the way he draws, he will start with like a nostril and work his way out. It's very weird. Very, very odd to see. It works for him. But I asked him once, I'm like, can you control the size the way you're doing that? Like, are you able to control your perspective? And he thought he could. And I'm like, okay, so here's a line here and here. Draw that same thing, but this size. He couldn't do it. And that was like, I swear, he didn't hardly draw anymore after that. Like, I wasn't trying to tell you you were good. I was just curious if you could control your perspective that way. Let's see. Leah said, got my mister today. Thanks for recommending it. I was trying to make a background for this hummingbird this week, and it went so bad. So now I'm ready to give it another go. Nice. If you're not, oh, I don't have it over here. Where? Oh, I was using it. I've been using it on my plants too. It's a fine mist sprayer from Delta Art. It is wonderful for like misting things to keep the paint wet. April said, maybe you should name your frogs after the Marx Brothers. Love your artwork. Thanks. Okay, so let's start getting some of that deeper blue-green again. Actually, some of this I can just use straight hooker's green would be fine. Let's see, we've got a dark area going up there. See, I'm just glazing over everything. It brings everything together really nicely. I'm gonna come back through now and get some more details. It looks like I need some more of that tan color, so we'll mix the red oxide, white, and black again. Or you could just use brown and white, but this is how I typically mix my brown. Not because it's like a superior brown, it's just that this red oxide, I can mix it with tons of different things and get like so much out of it. And every time I buy the browns, I don't use them often enough and they go bad before, like not bad. They get chunky inside and then I have to spend time thinning them with water. It's just kind of a pain. So I, at least with the Liquitex Basics, so I just mix it with red oxide, and that, like that, I go through that paint really quickly. Well before it could possibly get chunky. Heather said, one of my studio assistants wants to attack your hummingbird, the other, your paintbrush. That's funny. Wade has a thing, if he hears, like if I play a YouTube video of anything, he's instantly here, ears up, whiny, like, oh my God, I need to eat whatever is on that thing, especially if it's a bird or like a frog. We were listening to different frog calls because I guess that's a normal thing to do. And he gets really like, really worked up. Same thing when he hears the birds making a lot of noise. He wants in the room a bit too much. He's not allowed in there. Speaking of, just kind of random thought, my husband found a video. It's like hours of this guy who records his birds. He's got different types of birds. Chicken loves it. It's actually making him semi-quiet. Cat's Art Pick said, thanks for helping me to get to the bottom of that issue. I feel so much better now. Oh, good. I'm glad. Jason said, you like her suggestion and mine is blah. I still like the Three Stooges. I don't like the Three Stooges anyway. That is not my type of humor. Like even as a kid, I was just like, really, why are you guys watching this? That's not funny. I know, I'm boring. I have a more distinguished sense of humor. But yeah, I was never a fan. Maybe it's a girl thing. I don't know. And now I know where all my thumbs downs come from for this video. I went out there and I said it. I don't like the Three Stooges. Let's see. Austin's art said, "LOL, the anime should make him draw. It's so colorful." His stuff is more real. Like his stuff, he does comic book stuff, but he can also do really realistic people. He just doesn't. He only likes black and white. He doesn't like color, so he'll work with graphite, which is fine, but he just doesn't. So he's always said, well, maybe I'll get a drawing table one day, or maybe, and it's like, he's not doing it. I mean, I've got a studio in here with all these art supplies. He could use any of them. He knows that. I saved my old air compressor and airbrush and told him he could use that because he thought he wanted to use it. He does like painting Warhammer characters, so I guess that's something, but I would like to see him do his drawing, his art, because he's so good. I'm making these little lines and just gonna, don't say kinda again. I'm clustering them together, just whichever direction they go. I need to get some more highlights on his face too. Let's go with a little bit more white to that. Josephine said, yes, the Mister is amazing. Also amazing. Also got a second one for the Spectre Fix-It-Up. I need to get another one for that too. Works great. Oh, that's good to hear. I need to get that. Let's see. Hi, Lisa. I'm from India and I always miss your live session due to the time difference. Well, I'm glad you made it. Jason said, the Worlds of Warcraft more refined. World of Warcraft is fun. I've been doing, for anyone who plays World of Warcraft, 1,000,000 island expeditions. I'm working on the mounts. Like that's my, if I have a free, I like the island expeditions because I can log in and play for 10 minutes and then be done. Like you don't have to be on for hours doing something. So that's what I've been doing to collect. Oh, Gibson's on his back. I can't see his head, but all his legs are in the air. Yeah, I've been collecting. I've gotten several of the mounts, but not the parrot that I want. Angelique said, we were listening to frog call videos because that's what a normal thing to do. What's normal anyway? I watch, besides art video, industrial rug cleaning videos. Really? I didn't even know that was a thing. Griffin said, can you do a video on how to create iridescent feathers on hummingbirds in colored pencil? Have I not done one in colored pencil? That would be a good one. I like it. Yes. Gail said, the Stooges were Marx Brothers wannabe. Love the Marx Brothers and Buster Keaton. I'm not really familiar with any of them. Like I know I've seen them, but I don't really remember much about it. It wasn't enough to hold my interest. Okay. So I'm just paying attention to where I have some of these highlights and I can come back through, like in here, I need to come back through with darks. It's actually almost too light there. And I need to use a liner brush because the rake brush that I use, my lines are too small. As I look closely, I can see where I need to make a few longer ones and that'll be easier to do with a liner. And right now everything's still very flat. We've got a lot of building to do on this. I'm going to get some more darks in here. Let's go with darker brown. So again, that red oxide, black, bit of white. Don't chew. Wait. I use the paint like a gavel. He doesn't care. He ignores me. Now I like Monty Python humor. That I love. I remember when I was, God, I must have been 20 at the time. I was dating a guy and I was like, you have to watch this. It's so good. So, you know, you used to go to Blockbuster and rent things. So we, that was before Netflix. So we watched that and he did not get it at all. He thought that was the stupidest thing he ever saw. He said, I made him stupider by watching it. Yeah, he was not a fan. And that's how I knew that relationship was never going to work out. Beak said, I have Spectrafix. Will that work for graphite? I've never tried it. I would try that on a sample or see what the bottle says. I've never tried it. I can't say. Griffin said, I asked because in your other hummingbird videos, you usually choose female hummingbirds or less colorful. That's right. I did do one. I have actually one of my best ones. It's hanging on my wall in my living room. How did I forget that? It's just a matter of contrast. But yeah, there are some really colorful ones on Pixabay that I've wanted to paint or draw. So yeah, I can add that. Actually, oh, I found my book and didn't bring it over here. Okay, Hummingbird and color pencil. Add it to the to-do list. So see how I'm just building and building, watching how things clump together. And some of this is going to fade into the feather, so it or the wing there, so it looks a little weird right now. Get the shape at least. Okay, I'm going to start working on the front section. We're definitely not done with this. There's some layers that need to happen back there. Susan said, all is forgiven, i.e. Three Stooges, because Monty Python hands down is so much better. See? There we go. Like, how could I like anything lesser? I'm also not one, and this really, people always hate me for this one. I can't stand Will Ferrell. I just don't, he's not funny to me. I saw him on an interview and he was funny, but like in his movies, I can't watch Will Ferrell movies. So one of my friends insisted I would still like Elf. I haven't watched that yet. Maybe. I don't know. It's not my type of humor, I guess. That I can't say on Elf. I've never watched that one, but every time I don't know if I've even ever finished a Will Ferrell movie because it was just like, what? No, do I have to watch? No, please no. And here are where the rest of my thumbs downs in this video came from. Larry said, I'm with you. I don't like Three Stooges. Love Monty Python. We can be friends. Okay, I'm going to start with getting some of the highlights on his feathers here. These are fairly soft, so I don't want to use a rake brush for most of this. I'm just using titanium white. Oh, titanium white that's a bit too dry, apparently. And that, I believe, is the not Boston Terrier, the French Bulldog that lives next door. She keeps trying to dig into my yard. I keep putting rocks there. She really wants in my yard, which would not end well for her because my dogs would probably eat her. She's really cute. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen her since she was a tiny, tiny puppy. Oh my God, is that dog cute. One of the cutest puppies I think I've ever seen. Now, if this is too light anywhere, no big deal. We're going to glaze over it to do the shading. Leah said, so agree about Will Ferrell. Oh, it's not just me. I swear I feel alone in the world because like everyone I talk to loves him and I don't get it at all. Lori says, ooh, but Elf is great. Okay, now that I've heard it twice, and I have it, I own the movie, because I got something in it. It was like a free thing, a free YouTube movie or free Google. I don't know. I just know that I have it on my list, so maybe I'll watch it this year. Somebody else told me, even though I don't like him, that I would like that, so we'll see. Trust in you guys. Shannon said, I agree about the humor. Don't like stupid humor. I don't like Leslie Nielsen movies either. Airplane was funny when I was 12 and then grew up. Exactly. Like I remember watching them when I was a kid and I thought they were hilarious. And then as I've gotten older and I watched it, I'm like, yeah, it's just not for me. Austin Zart said, Will Ferrell is so funny, especially his SNL jokes and Daddy's Home. That was a funny movie. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that was one I saw and no, it was not. Please stop doing drugs, Austin's art. That's the only explanation I have for your enjoyment of Will Ferrell. See, and now here's the rest of the thumbs down for my videos. I shouldn't tell people of the things I dislike. Nick said he has to be in the mood to appreciate Will Ferrell. I'm pretty sure I'd have to be drunk to appreciate Will Ferrell. Breaking Foundation said, wait, nope, that went away. Message retracted. Okay. Didn't want to talk to you anyway. So just building the little feathers. And look at your reference photo, how these go almost in rows. So these areas start getting a bit longer. And I want to let some of that medium color that I had in the background show through. That's why we painted it medium. Let that work for you. Julie said, it's a bit more typical Christmas movie than Will Ferrell movie. Okay, then I might like that. Susan said, Will Ferrell is cringeworthy. The elf is okay, has some funny moments, and he's an excellent supportive has an excellent supportive cast. Carries the movie for me. I'm gonna give it a try. You guys convinced me. Jason said, I don't like Will much either. I like him in Dad's Home with Mark Wahlberg. Wait, is that the one? No, I'm thinking of a different movie. I don't think I saw that one. I'm thinking of, he had a brother or something, like Step Brothers. That's what I'm thinking of. Was that the name of it? That was just like, I made it 5 minutes and it was like, oh God, I can't do this. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Maya said, not an elf fan. Time I could not ever get back. Oh no. Leah said, yeah, I've seen Elf. No, one of my favorites. I'm not sure if you're saying no, one of my favorites, or not one of my favorites. April said, Will Ferrell is not funny. He's never been funny. Yeah, see, I'm with you on that. I've just never did anything. Like, I've never watched him say anything. The only thing I watched, he was doing something. Who was it with? It was another actor, and it was who could make each other laugh first. And the few of the times Will Ferrell, like, he made me, because he was keeping such a straight face, he made me laugh a couple times in that, and that was the only time that man has ever made me laugh. Like, otherwise, he's like, it just seems childish. Like, it's not for me. Says the girl who collects My Little Ponies, and I'm calling something else childish. Maybe I shouldn't judge, huh? Angelique said, I don't like Austin Powers. My fiance does. He started saying, yeah, baby. I told him I will leave you if you start saying that regularly, how Austin Powers says it makes my teeth cringe. I was young when that came out too. When did that come out? But I remember I was younger. I was probably drunk at the time because, you know, teenagers are dumb. Don't drink when you're a teenager. Not a good idea. But maybe I wasn't a teenager. Maybe I was older. But I remember laughing kind of. But yeah, it's not something I could watch again. Like, I remember at the time, but I was young, and I'm going to call myself, just blame it on being young and stupid. Leah said, not one I liked. Okay. Like, I see memes of Austin Powers stuff, and it's like, it's a little bit, no. Not for me. I haven't seen it in forever, though, to be fair. I just remember, I see clips here and there, and I'm like, I remember that being funnier than what it is in the clip I'm seeing right now. But also keep in mind, I'm the crazy person who likes Twilight. I apparently have no taste, so I can recognize that as some of the worst acting in any movie ever. Freaking, what was it? Taylor Lautner or whatever, and Kristen Stewart. Oh my God, two of the worst actors in the history of all acting ever. Yet I still like the movie. At least I recognize it's bad, right? What's interesting is the guy, whoever it is who plays Edward, I forget his name right now. He's actually an excellent actor. He's been in a few things. He's actually really good. You just didn't notice it over the painful terribleness that is Kristen Stewart and Taylor Lautner, whatever. He's not even worth remembering either of their names correctly. Breaking Foundation said, LOL, I'm sorry, I keep sending messages before I'm done typing. Have you ever colorized a graphite or black and white painting digitally? No, I've not. What I have done though was to paint something in black and white and glaze color over it, but it wasn't done digitally. That would be kind of fun to do though, wouldn't it? Monica said, yeah, he's just not funny. Did like Elf. Love Twilight though. Oh gosh, you and I share bad taste. Well, according to most people, I guess. So Twilight, the original books that Stephanie and I like the books more than the movies. I like the first two books, I should say. I wasn't a huge fan of the second two. But it got all X-Men. Like, how did you turn vampires? I mean, it was one thing to be glitter, but now you're X-Men vampires? X-pyres? I don't know. But anyway, she wrote the first book from Edward's perspective, and it got leaked before she was done, like the first 4 chapters or something, and I loved it. It was so much better than the actual, like the original books. So she just released them, but for the Kindle version, she's charging $15, which is insane for a Kindle book. I've not seen one that expensive in a very long time, and I'm like, I mean, I really liked it, but I don't don't know. And then I thought, well, I'll use one of my, because I have a million Audible credits. I'll use an Audible credit and get, I'm not paying attention to directions. So you know how I always talk about, don't just keep doing the same thing over and over. That is exactly what I did. I have to start moving down here. Wipe off. They need to start curving back. Don't do what I just did. But I wanted to get the Audible version. Oh, the narrator they have reading it is horrible, which is really like weird for a book that was would be that popular. I'm surprised. It's bad. It is really bad. Like I listened to the sample and the reviews even said the same thing. Like that is the wrong narrator for this, which is very unfortunate because I would have loved to be able to listen to that. I should stop pointing out my bad taste, huh? Let's see. Joseph said, Kristen Stewart had an act off against a brick and lost. Yes. And I had a read off against YouTube and lost. Let's read that like I can read. Kristen Stewart had an act off against a brick and lost. It came out better that time, didn't it? You are correct. Jean, it's tiny. I can't read letters. Elf is fun to watch, but Christmas Vacation is our family tradition. Thanksgiving after dinner. I have not seen that in years. I do remember really liking that. No, he, crap, what is his name? The dad from that. Him, I've always really liked. I can't think of his name. Why? He is one since, like, I do remember liking his sense of humor. Or, like, his jokes and stuff. Yeah. Why can't I think of his name? Fem said, Twilight, no, say it ain't so. But I can recognize how bad it is, right? So that makes it, right? That I've got to get bonus points for the fact that I recognize that it's bad. Griffin says, Twilight, especially the sound. LOL, love Twilight, especially the soundtracks. Oh, now those, yes, that, they have some good soundtracks. That I absolutely, that is, yes. Leslie said, I love Twilight. Some scenes are questionable, but it reminds me of simpler times. Maybe that's it too. Like that was the first book, and this may be part of it. Like when I started, I mean, I read a lot as a teenager, and then I just stopped, like just got busy with everything. And then that was one of the first books I read when I started reading regularly again. So maybe it's just like memories from that, and I didn't have a lot to compare it to. I don't know. All I know is I loved, like, could not put those books down when I read them. Switching directions. Going over that a little bit. You can still see the feather marks, but we're going to make that brighter. Now here, I'm just going to, this will look weird until I glaze over it, but I just need to get a little bit of that texture in here. This will be shadowed. Yeah, some of the questionable Twilight scenes, like the CG baby, or the wolves weren't good, but the baby, God, I don't know why you would CG a baby. And like, baby, oh, I just figured out why they CG'd that baby. They couldn't trust Kristen Stewart to hold a baby, like a real one. I think I just figured out why they did that. Oh my gosh, I can't wait till my husband wakes up. I have to go tell him this. I think the world makes so much sense right now, because if you saw her when she was like with the little girl and she's supposed to act all motherly and putting her head, and she's doing the most awkward, like, I'm touching you, but I'd really rather not touch you. Of course they couldn't have her hold a baby. Oh, I get it now. I understand the CG baby. Let's see. I don't understand casting Kristen Stewart for anything. Let's see. Angelique said Robert Pattinson. Yes, that's his name. Love him. Robert is awesome. Yeah, he's a really, and people don't realize that because they are like, oh, you mean the vampire, the glitter pyre? Yes, he's really good. Watch him in anything else. Fem said, I'm with you on Will Ferrell. Like Myra said, Elf was time wasted. I'll never get back. Oh. Nick said, I think Peter Dinklage is an elf. Oh, I love him. That kind of makes me want to watch it. He's an amazing actor. Like, he's amazing. Cat's Art Pick said, his name is Chevy Chase. Thank you. Him. I like his humor. I love him. Lori Boots said, Robert Pattinson is Edward. Also played Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is also my favorite Harry Potter of all the Harry Potters. I love that one. I mean, it was good, and then you got to watch Edward die. Even though I know he's a good actor, it's still, there's something satisfying about that. Says the person who also likes Twilight. I contradict myself. Where were we? Fam said, okay, Chevy Chase from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Yes, I could not think of his name, and that just jumped. Susan said, gotta fly, thanks for helping to kickstart my day. People to see, hands not to shake you, back away. Oh well, happy days, shoot 'em in the back. Three Stooges quote. See, I wouldn't have gotten that. Have a good day, Susan. Nick said, recognizing the problem is the first step. Yes, it is. But I also, Nick, I love Atlas Shrugged, so you have to admit, I can have good taste, just sometimes not so much. I don't have terrible taste, at least. Austin's Art said, won't do drugs and never do drugs. Elf is literally the only movie from Farrell I've never found interest in, so I'll agree with you on that. Gail said, what do you think of Napoleon Dynamite? I haven't seen that in years, and I do remember laughing, kind of. Like, I remember liking some of it. The actor's actually impressive that he played such a derp. Like, I do think that was funny, and there were quotes from that I still think are funny when people repeat. I was young when I watched that. I was, like 21 something like that, when I saw that, if I'm wrong. Maybe it was a little after. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I didn't enjoy it as much as, like, my husband and his brother watching it were cracking up, and it was just like, I mean, it's kind of funny, but not laugh out loud funny, was, I guess, a way to do it. I wouldn't necessarily want to go and watch it again. But I didn't hate life watching it, I guess. Monica said, yeah, I'm a fantasy girl. Just started the Shannara. Okay, so I have those books, and I don't know which order. I got a bunch of them when they were on sale, and I've never read them. I watched wasn't that one on, the one that was on MTV made their show of that? But I kind of lost interest. MTV screws up everything they touch. It started out okay and just went downhill from there. But yeah, that one I need to start. Have you read, if you like fantasy, the ones, I just finished Red Winter from Annette Marie. It's okay. I love the ending. The journey to get there was just too long. And if I had to listen to the main character whine about the same thing one more time, oh my God, I was definitely over it. It was like, can someone just kill her so we can be done with this now? But anyway, I did like the ending, but Annette Marie's, her Steel and Stone books, and what was the other one? There was an offshoot from that. Loved it. So good. Like, I can listen to that one over and over again. So well done. She's also got the Guild Codex, that series, and she's got a few offshoots from that. Really, really, like, if you like fantasy, I'm a huge fan of hers. I kind of want to listen to them again. But fantasy is normally what I listen to. Like, if there's a vampire or werewolf, something supernatural or magic or fae, I love those. Anything like that are normally my go-tos. Jason said, Atlas Shrugged, what's it about? I recommend reading it. I don't want to give anything too far away, but it kind of goes through what happens when you let government control you or let government take over your life, is kind of where it goes. But I don't want to say anything more than that because it follows the story of certain people. It's so well done, so well thought out. Like, it's just, it's a good one. Like, if you're someone who doesn't, like, I definitely do not like the government having a whole lot of control, because I don't trust people to make the best decisions for other people. So that is as far as I will go with saying that, because I don't want to ruin anything for you, but it was excellent. Not a fantasy book or anything like that. Well, I guess kind of it is. Yeah, I mean, it's not it is fiction. But yeah, I enjoyed that. It's long. The narrator, oh my gosh, if you do the audiobook, the narrator was excellent. Like, definitely pulled me in. Myra said, did not laugh once while watching Napoleon Dynamite. Oh my God, it was a painful experience. Yeah, I was like 20 or 21. So that may have been like, or maybe 20. No, I would have been at least 21 because I remember watching it with my husband, or, we were dating at the time. But I do remember that, but I didn't find it nearly as funny as or my husband, his brother, and his best friend were there too. And they'll laugh at the weirdest things, like to where one's rolling around on the floor and I'm like, are you high? Like, somebody's high here. But anyway, let's see. Austin's Art said, never liked Twilight, too dark and dreary for me. Really? Glitter vampires were dark and dreary? You wouldn't like most of the fantasy books I listened to then. By the way, the bird is looking pretty. Keep it up. Thanks. We're getting there. And unfortunately, the way the lighting is hitting, it almost looks like I'm not doing a whole lot with the... let's get this done really quick. I'm going to do I've got to do a lot of detailing on all of this. So this is about as far as we're going to get on that. I'll get caught up on questions. I don't want to go too far because I was like, I'll glaze this now, but I can't. I need to do the darks before I can glaze it. So that is where he's going to end. Right now, he's flat. We're getting the detail, but he is very flat right now. We're going to finish him one way or another. I want him, at least his body, but hopefully his body finished and wings started, if not finished. The wings shouldn't take as long. We'll see. I'm doing it without an airbrush and talking a lot while doing it, so we'll see how that goes. But we'll be cleaning some stuff up and working more on the contrast. We've got some glazing to do. I need to finish doing the detailing here, and then we're going to glaze the shadow because he needs to have a shadow that goes right around here, which is going to be the thing that takes him from looking like a flat cartoon to looking more realistic. It's not necessarily the detail, it's my values. Getting those darks dark enough, lights light enough, that is what's going to make him look realistic. We'll get caught up in a couple of these questions, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Let's see. Martha said, hi, which brushes are you using? I'm using a combination. Most of them are generics. I've got some Low Cornell. I guess that's not a total, or no, I'm not even using Low Cornell. I've got a Royal Soft Grip, which is, I would consider a generic-ish type. Some Simply Simmons, and the rest are generic from Hobby Lobby. And so some of these are so generic, there's no name on them at all. It's like number 2. So they're mostly Taklon bristled filberts. And with the exception of my liner, which is a synthetic hog-haired liner brush. Fem said, if you like fantasy mixed with humor, try reading any Terry Pratchett's Discworld books. Such one. That sounds familiar. You know what's funny with fantasy are Molly Harper's one of my favorites. And the narrator, so good. I love hers. She has, was the first one I read was something about a naked werewolf or how to date a naked werewolf or something. It was so funny. And I never read it because I thought it was going to be like real trashy from the cover of the book. Because it was hilarious, super good. There are a few trashy areas, but like it's all wrapped up in with humor, so it's more adult, but it's not too much of that. Mostly, it's just humor. They're like comedy romances, but like vampires or werewolves, they're wonderful. But Terry Pratchett, that sounds familiar. Monica said, yeah, the MTV kind of screwed it up for me, but when I went to Spike and Cliffhanger, so I started the books, but looked into the other books. We'll look into the other books. I can't talk. Let me know how you like the books, because I have a bunch of them. I just haven't read them yet. I have to figure out what order they're supposed to go in, because it was like off series or offshoots, and I wasn't sure which one went where. I got confused. Julie said, the Atlas Shrugged movies were on such limited budget that I would take the audiobook over the movie any day. Yeah, I've heard bad things about the movie. But like when you listen to the audiobook, it's, God, what was it, like 50 hours? It is long. I don't even know how you would fit that into a movie and have it be good. There's so much buildup that it just felt necessary. I didn't feel like you could really cut a lot out without having the same feel, the end result. So yeah, they were good. Let's see. Whoops, that scrolled too far. Where were we? Jason Ellis said, government is for the people, not the government for it, and that seems to be how it is going. Yup. Angelique said, I like Zombie Fallout by Mark Tufo, only on Audible. Oh my God, Michael Talbot, the main character, is a card-carrying germaphobe in a zombie apocalypse. I think I started that. I don't remember if I listened to the sample. Maybe I just listened to the sample. I'm gonna have to look into that. I like zombie stuff. Leah said, but I like funny zombie stuff, like better than real stuff. Let's see. I'm going to have to keep a pen and paper during live streams, so I take notes on these fantasy books I haven't read. Yes. I actually considered doing a blog post where, like, with books I recommend or that I enjoy while painting, or ones I didn't enjoy for various reasons. I thought about doing that. It seems time consuming, but also it would be convenient because I talk about them all the time. Let's see. Sarah said, I've never watched Napoleon Dynamite, but I'm guessing it's more of a guy's movie. Yeah, I think so. So whatever, this is the opposite of a chick flick. Yes. It has like what I would consider dumb humor. Like some of the parts, like, and I've seen parts where I'm like, okay, that was kind of funny. But like let me back that up. When I see clips, I haven't seen it in so long, I don't remember that much from it. But if people will share clips, and I kind of laugh at the clips. Whereas if people share clips of like anything Will Ferrell, I'm like, that's not funny at all. Or Three Stooges, like I don't get it, that doesn't make me laugh. Whereas the clips of some of the funnier parts of Napoleon Dynamite do. So, but I'm also not intending to watch it again. So there's that. Fen said Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett did a collab. Oh, maybe that's why I know his name, because I love Neil Gaiman. Did a collab on the book Good Omens, which is now a series on Amazon Prime. I prefer Terry Pratchett's solo work though, much better. Interesting. Okay, I need to look into that. Okay, I think we are done. It is 10:05. Hey, Gibson's not bugging me for his walk yet, which is a shock. Angelique said, if you like funny and love zombie, Fallout is the book for you. Okay, I need to look into that. Thank you guys so much for joining. We're going to start coughing already. We're going to hopefully finish him next week. We'll see how far we get. We're getting there. We're close. I want to get all the details and, so I'm taking more time. Anyway, I will see you next week. Make sure to check out our moderators' channels. They're licked. They don't lick the channels. Taste good. They're linked in the video description. Joseph and Nick both have art channels here. Definitely check them out. Tell them thank you. They help us so much. They keep all of the spammy things or comments none of us really want to be comfortable with. Like licking. That is all. They take care of everything for us. So tell them a big thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Friday we are doing, succulents in watercolor pencil. You can follow along in any medium you want. Not succulent, succulent. It's a single one. He's all rainbow colors with pink and blue. He's beautiful. I should have the reference photo over on Patreon for free for anyone. You don't need to be a member to get that or even sign in or anything. That should be there tomorrow, if I remember. And I think we are done. Thank you again. And yeah, is that it? I think that's it. I'll see you Friday at 1 p.m. Next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. We will finish this guy, hopefully. Bye.